Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
And welcome to this edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, you'll find us right here on Granville Island. Jim, where are we close to?
We are close to one of the venues that's going to be part of the upcoming Vancouver International Jazz Festival, and that's Performance Works. We're up on this beautiful, cozy little grassy knoll.
Yeah, and if you've watched the show before, well, we hope you have. We have actually interviewed people here before.
We have actually, and this is, we're happy to be back with the Vancouver International Jazz Festival again. We will talk to a couple of very cool, talented artists right here in the spot after you watch this. Well, we're beginning, as we set off the intro, with another series of jazz festival segments spotlighting the Vancouver International Jazz Festival coming your way very soon. Joining me is a man who seems to do it all musician-wise. He's a musician, as I said, record label creator. He was a club owner. He does a lot more, produces, writes, and he's going to be performing here at the Jazz Festival. It's Corey Weeds. And Corey, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're great. You're quite welcome. Hey, let's talk about your performances off the bat. People have a chance to see you 3 times. When are those dates during the Jazz Festival?
I'm here in Granville Island Performance Works on July 3rd with my Little Big Man project that I love, and I'm super excited to have the opportunity to do it and have guest Jerry Weldon. And then Jerry Weldon joins me at Frankie's for 2 nights, July 4th and 5th, Saturday, Sunday, and we're just in a quintet at Frankie's. It's gonna be great.
Tell our viewers a bit about Jerry. This is just a marriage made in heaven from what I've heard and listened to. Coming together with another artist, talk a bit about him and what he's done.
Well, first of all, Jerry should he should have been a character on Seinfeld, or he should have his own show. Jerry's as fun to watch as he is to listen to. He's a big-hearted individual, plays with joy and warmth and spirit and soul, and I've known about him for many years.
Yeah.
And he's just somebody that I want to be around. And you know, a 2 saxophone thing can be kind of an interesting mix, but him and I just seem to really gel really well together. And he's fun to be around. Doesn't matter what instrument he plays. He's just fun to be around, and I feed off that. He feeds off me. And the crowd feeds off it, and it's really fun.
You have been around the jazz scene in this country a very long time. Of course, you work outside of this country, that goes without saying, but give me your thoughts on the state of the jazz scene in the city and this country.
It's very strong. It's very strong. I've been doing this for about playing and presenting and recording for about 30 years, and I really honestly feel that right now is one of the strongest times I've seen it. In every way. The players are strong. There's a lot of young people coming up. The support from the audience is like something that I've never seen. I remember when I ran my club, you know, it would be 10 people, 80 people, 17 people, 40 people. Now at Frankie's, it's 80, and you go, this show is sold out, this show is sold out. So it's really healthy. You know, I do travel across the country, and I think I can't speak for the individual cities, but I know that Toronto, you know, with being a bigger city and lots going on there too, it's great. I was in Calgary recently. We had great turnouts there. So there seems to be a bit of a swell for live entertainment and a real appetite for it. So it's great.
Tell our viewers a bit about your record label. You said you've got lots of great music coming out, people coming up the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah, we're celebrating 25 years, you know, a label that wasn't supposed to turn into anything. It was meant more as a lark than it was a serious thing. And here we are 25 years later. We've got 400 plus releases, and we're recording established artists and giving them an outlet, and really working hard with a lot of younger artists to give them an outlet to get their stuff out and heard. And you know, the response continues to be great. I used to say I've been trying to put the label out of business every year, and it just won't go away. So, you know, I've had to finally accept that it looks like it's here to stay, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
Remind our viewers one more time, the dates you are playing and where.
July 3rd, Performance Works in Granville Island with my Little Big Band featuring Jerry Weldon, and then the 4th and 5th of July, Saturday, Sunday at Frankie's Jazz Club with my quintet featuring Jerry Weldon.
And look for the Jazz Festival, folks. It's June 19th to July 5th, coastaljazz.ca. More information on this very talented man, CoreyWeeds.com. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
We are excited to have Dean Thiessen with us here on Granville Island, sitting in our favorite spot in the sunshine, right by Performance Works. An amazing, celebrated pianist. You are going to be playing at the Jazz Festival in several venues, of course. You're going to be playing with your own band, Stranger Friends, as well as with some other bands, larger bands.
Yeah, all over the place. Small groups, larger groups, a little bit of everything.
Everywhere. Now, where are you? What dates are you playing with your band?
My group, the Stranger Friends Orchestra, is playing here on July 5.
July 5.
July
Okay.
5th.
Good.
And that's my 15-piece big band.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard good things about this.
Yeah.
Very exciting to see them. And then you're transitioning and playing with all kinds. Well, you're a popular musician, of course. You're going to be playing.
I'm glad.
You're playing with all kinds of other orchestras. Now, the question is it hard to transition from your own artistic vision with your band going in to play with other people?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the group, my orchestra is definitely like the one group that I just compose for. I have a great pianist in that group named Suin, and she's an excellent musician, and I hand all of that off to her, so I just get to be the composer, and then when I switch into playing with other people's groups, yes, it's a huge different shift for sure.
You can be the boss in the other one, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, we know that it's a very passionate community, the jazz community in Vancouver.
Yeah.
What would you say makes it very unique?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think this is a unique thing, but it's definitely packed full of incredible musicians and has been for forever. That's one of the great things about my orchestra, is that I get to collect some of the greatest musicians that I have run into, and I get to collect them all into my own ensemble. I think this is a really incredible town for people our age. This is a hard town, and we have our own challenges. And I think within those challenges of talking about the housing crisis and homelessness and all of these things that we're up against, and Indigenous issues, I think all of us as composers and musicians are really trying to find out how we can do what we do here and hold space with all of these really tricky elements that we have here.
Yeah, I would say, that is unique too. Maybe not unique to all. Maybe all big cities kind of are fighting with that right now, but we do it in a graceful way, especially adding music into that mix. Good job with that. So the Jazz Festival website actually mentions that one of your inspirations that you bring into your music is John Steinbeck. I'm laughing because it's like, well, he brings a lot of his humor, but also his really dark depression, humanistic side to that. What inspires you with John Steinbeck? How do you bring that into your music?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just so much human emotion, and I think that's just such a huge draw for me to him, is you just open up these books and you just get these really honest human emotions that I think with every headline that pops up, it just hits me even harder how much some of his novels are still just like right on the mark.
Well, thanks for being on Our City tonight. I look forward to seeing you in concert.
Thank you.
This Jazz Moment was brought to you by the 2026 Vancouver International Jazz Festival, June 19th to July 5th. The Vancouver International Jazz Festival, bringing music to the summer of our city for over 40 years. Hey, just a reminder to check out the print digital version of Our City Tonight in the latest edition of Iconic Concierge magazine.
Yeah, we love partnering with this great luxury magazine. You can find it pretty much where?
Oh, everywhere. Luxury hotels, great bars. It's everywhere. It's a good-looking magazine. We're proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, and the actual column in Iconic Concierge magazine is a little taste of what Our City Tonight is doing out and about in our city.
That's right. Check out the latest edition. It's available now. There's a new documentary available right now that's quite fascinating. It's called The Dawn of Tiki, and it attempts to separate fact from fiction when it comes to an individual named Don Beach, or Don the Beachcomber. Here's a peek.
Who is Don Beach? He's the granddaddy Tiki.
I don't know what I'd be doing if Don hadn't opened his place. Definitely be doing something else, that's for sure.
It's the whole concept of escapism. All that themed architecture and that fully immersive experience that all started with Don.
Joining us now is the co-producer, co-director coming to us. His name is Alex Lamb. Alex, welcome and say hi to our viewers in Canada.
Thank you so much. Hello, Canada.
Congratulations on this film. Boy, I thought I knew a lot about this guy, but you really pulled up some stuff and the archival footage and everything else you do. We should start out by saying that you had a wonderful, very successful screening of The Dawn of Tiki here in Vancouver at the wonderful Rio Theatre not too long ago. We should mention the people that you worked with, a fabulous place called the Shameful Tiki Room. Tell us about this guy, because I love the fact that I could, joking and laughing here, that this is the mostly true story of Don the Beachcomber. It sounds cliche, but boy, they don't make them like this anymore. Tell our viewers who may not know about this fantastic, wonderful figure.
Yeah, well, Don the Beachcomber, born Ernest Gant in 1907, and we're pretty sure in Texas. He traveled the world a lot as a kid. He ended up in Hollywood, California, was a rum runner for a little while, and when Prohibition ended, opened a bar called Don the Beachcombers, which eventually became the first sort of prototypical tiki bar. It's kind of what tiki bars all stemmed from, was that bar, and it was sort of based on his own experiences and a little bit of imagination.
Yeah, he seems to come by it naturally. As you mentioned, his early days, grows up in Jamaica. He's running rum. He's getting liquor and cigars for World War II troops, and he kind of gets into this. But as I said, it's very sincere, because from his experiences of the South Seas and all that area, he creates these cocktails, which it sounds odd to our viewers today, but 70, 80, 90 years ago, you weren't seeing exotic cocktails.
Right, and rum was rum was not a very popular drink back then, especially for people in the States and Northern America. It was really kind of just out of the fact that he had a hold of a bunch of it because of the rum running and Prohibition, and he actually knew how to make drinks with it because he had spent time in the South Seas. So Don sort of created what he calls his rum rhapsody, which is sort of his template for making cocktails, based off an old Jamaican recipe, the Planter's Punch, of lime, sugar, and rum. And that's kind of where it all comes from.
It's interesting, too, because you mentioned that he opens up his first restaurant in Los Angeles. You've got movie stars, Clark Gable showing up, everybody that's anybody. He meets a woman, they get married. What I didn't know about his story, though, as it's becoming a huge franchise, he finds himself kind of out of the loop and out of the equation, making not a dime off everything that he created.
Yeah, it's still one of those pieces of his story that is shrouded in a little bit of mystery, but his wife, Sunny Sund, sort of gets hooked up with the mob and gets a divorce, and they take the business away from him. They do keep Don around. He's the name of the business and he's the face of the business, but it's really, she's the primary owner of the business from then on out.
And what does he talk about what he does to, for lack of a better word, combat this situation? Name change, legally, all this stuff. It seemed like the only thing left to do, and just heading to Hawaii.
Yeah, so when all this happened, first he gets drafted into World War II, where he sort of like rediscovers his roots and, giving escape to people who really need it, where he's creating these rest camps for troops in World War II. And then when he comes back, he just decides to head off to Hawaii. Luckily, the contract that made Don the Beachcomber Sonny's only really counted for the United States, and Hawaii wasn't a state yet. So he was able to sort of leave the States and come to Hawaii and do his own thing there. And it's the most surprising thing to my partner Max and I when making this film is kind of what an impact he had on Hawaii, not just what an impact Hawaii had on him, but that time for Hawaii was very important, especially when it was becoming a state. It was really at risk of losing a lot of its identity.
I don't know if you agree with this, Alex, but I find in my life and things I've enjoyed and seen that trends can sometimes be cyclical. They go, they hear. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the tail end of the tiki trend, and I think the first place I ever had a beer was Trader Vic's in Toronto. It seems, is it coming back? Is there a coolness about it again? As I mentioned off the top, the Shameful Tiki Room here in Vancouver. Are you finding these places popping up again? Is Don getting better known thanks to things like this movie?
I hope Don's getting better known. Tiki is definitely, it's always sort of coming back, going away, coming back. This last sort of trend of Tiki getting popularized again, a lot of people thought would last maybe a couple years, and it's been about 15 or 20 years now. It just keeps going. I think that the craft cocktail renaissance of the early 2000s really contributed to that. People wanting their cocktails made with fresh fruit juices and, different syrups and multiple different liquors. That was what Don was really great at. So it really, I think a lot of bartenders, when they started doing their research, were like, oh, this guy was making some really complex, interesting cocktails. And it really sort of brought about an appreciation for something that he was doing in the 30s.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, boy, you can't go to a cocktail bar and not hear the word rum. It's one of the most popular cocktail ingredients. Alex, where can people find out more about this wonderful film?
Yeah, so thedonoftiki.com, www.thedonoftiki. There's 2 N's in Don. That's how he spelled his name. Yeah. We have an email list on there. We also have the Dawn of Tiki on Instagram at the Dawn of Tiki, and that's where most of our updates are. So, there'll be updates on the Blu-ray release, the streaming release, all that stuff, which should be happening this year.
Alex, thank you for this. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. I always love documentaries that educate me more on little bits that I knew about an individual. And this was certainly a character. It's almost like you take Hemingway and mix him with Errol Flynn, and that's what you would get with this guy. So he is Alex Lamb, co-director, co-producer of The Dawn, as he said, D-O-N-N, The Dawn of Tiki. Check out the website for more information. Alex, thank you. And next time you're in Vancouver, please let us know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Some promotional considerations provided by Star Wild Domes. Luxury in nature, transforming outdoor spaces into extraordinary destinations. For more information, go to starwilddomes.com.
Alison Reed is a Canadian director and producer known for her work in documentary and adventure-focused films. Her most recent documentary film is The Art of Adventure, featuring Robert Bateman and Bristol Foster, 2 lovable naturalists that are really family names. We know them. We associate them with biologists, naturalists, but what an amazing film. I want to welcome Alison Reed to our city tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. And you're right, those 2 are lovable. That is exactly the reason I made this documentary. You can't help but fall in love with them.
Oh, completely. And you see that all through that. I was going to ask you to start what inspired you to tell the story of Robert Bateman and Bristol Foster, besides being lovable.
Well, I actually met them through the subject of my last film, which was called The Woman Who Loves Giraffes. And it was about a giraffe scientist, a pioneering giraffe scientist known as the Jane Goodall of giraffes. And her name was Anne Innes Dagg. And Anne was in the same friendship circle with both Robert Bateman and Bristol Foster at the University of Toronto back in the 1950s. So Bristol ended up co-writing the textbook, which would become the Bible on giraffes known globally. So 2 Canadians were the pioneering giraffe scientists of the world. Wow. And Robert Bateman was her first boyfriend, believe it or not. Ooh. So yes, so they had a few dates, they went on a few hikes and dances, but I don't think they actually progressed to the kissing stage, according to both of them. But
or we're not telling, no kissing and telling. Oh, that's incredible. The next question would be, when your audience watches this incredible film, I have to say that, what do you hope they take away from it? Because they're seeing this historical adventures through archival footage.
Yeah, exactly. This Bristol gave us such a gift in that, when he and Robert went around the world when they were in their 20s, Bristol actually filmed it on a Bolex camera. So we get a real time capsule into the way the world was back then, before it was, before so much of it was commercialized. And of course, this was before Robert was a famous artist. But he was certainly sketching and painting the whole way. So his artwork that has been seen very little, if at all, is also in the film. So I think what what they would want and what we want people to get out of the film is to be inspired to connect with nature. I mean, that's what Robert and Bristol have done all their lives, and I think that that's the reason they were so driven to protect it. You know, Robert through his artwork, Bristol through his science and his ecological reserve. So I think what they're saying is just get out there and explore this amazing planet and, enjoy it.
It's incredible. They hit 19 countries. I think I have to look down, 50,000 miles, and went from May 23rd, 1957 to November 1958. I do remember that. What an incredible adventure. And connecting with these two, Robert and Bristol, what did you learn from their experiences, you personally?
Well, there's so much I learned from them, so much. But generally speaking, I mean, they're just such glass half full guys. I mean, they're not ones to worry about the past or worry about what we don't have. Like, they're just like, let's take what we have and go forward. I mean, as Robert says in the film, he hasn't lost one iota of sleep, one day of sleep, worrying about the state of the planet. He says, worrying is useless, taking action is useful. And I think what they have shown by example is to just do what comes naturally to you. But, whether it's painting, whether it's, as Bristol was drawn to biology and science, like whatever you do, there's a way into, living in harmony with this beautiful world.
Yeah, and they both live on Salt Spring Island, so they are living in a beautiful spot now, which is really amazing. I'm going to ask the last question here. If you could revisit one scene that you put together so masterfully, I have to say, with all this footage, one scene that impacted you the most, what would you say and tell our audience?
I can't pick one, but I'm going to briefly tell you about two, if I may.
Okay.
One is, as I was interviewing Robert and Bristol, I tried to do that in natural environments, and they would constantly stop and go, "Did you hear that tree frog? And did you hear that bird?" Like, they were just so in tune to nature. And there's one scene in the film where we're talking about the state of the planet, and you can hear a raven above Bristol going, "Caw, caw, caw." And he's like, "Oh, the raven's giving us advice right now." And do you remember that scene?
I do, because I love crows and ravens. I am a big fan.
Well, it's pretty funny what he says. So that's one of my favorite scenes. I won't give it away. And the other one is at near the end of the film. Bristol and Robert are both in their 90s, and they talk very candidly about age and mortality, and they're both walking down to this beautiful bench on a hill. I mean, most people don't know that peak on Salt Spring Island overlooks Robert's property, and his that lake that you see at the bottom of the hill there is actually Ford Lake, which is Robert's house overlooks. Nice. But it's a sort of reflection on, I mean, they're walking down there holding sticks, and we've seen these guys, and we've met them as 20-year-olds, and here they are, 80-year-olds, still the same guys. They haven't changed. Their bodies have changed, but their spirit remains the same, and that scene really gets to me.
The film was beautiful. Allison, thanks for sharing your insight, and we look forward to your next film too.
Okay, thanks. I really appreciate it.
This segment was sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online. Well, it's time for another segment we just created recently called The Scene. We check out what's going on around Vancouver. It's beautiful weather. It's June. We're heading in to taste some great wine at a big favorite restaurant in town called Provence. Lita's already inside. Let's go to her right now.
Well, here at a very exciting event. We haven't seen Josh for a while, and we're here at Provence, of course. Where else would we be with Josh? And you are doing a huge launch event for your Haywire partnership. Tell us a little bit about this. I've got this in my glass.
Yeah.
tell us what is in the
Okay, I wish I had a bottle with me as well, but we'll show you later, yeah. It is a sparkling wine that we made. It's been in the process since 2020. The grapes were picked in 2020 from organic vineyard in Garnet Valley, just outside of Summerland. It's 66% Pinot Noir, 34% Chardonnay. It sat on lees for 72 months. It had a process of being in both oak, concrete, and stainless for different stages of the fermentation, and then all assembled afterwards. There's no sugar added, so it's a true brut nature or zero dosage wine. It's 11.5% alcohol. We were looking for something that would be, lightly pink, nice on the patio, super refreshing, great with oysters, great with chilled seafood, great to celebrate. It's going to be going out for all of our, people who are celebrating anniversaries and birthdays, VIPs. There's only 500 bottles made. We have made a very small amount, and we're very excited at the process and to be offering it to our guests.
And you couldn't get any more French than this in the Champenois method.
It's
pretty incredible. Well, congratulations again. You guys
Thank
always
you.
surprise us here. And how long has Provence been around again?
We're in our 24th year, turning 25 on February 2nd of 2027.
That is going to be a huge party.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
We'll see how long my hair is by then. I'm kidding, I'll get it cut.
No, don't do it.
Thank you so much for coming.
Cheers.
Always nice to see you.
Closed captioning and other promotional considerations provided by Hamilton High Street Senior Residence, Richmond's newest senior living community.
Well, we're back here on Granville Island by Performance Works, where we started the show.
That's right, Lita. And we should say, please stick around for the end credits. We hope you always do. But in this case, we're not going to end with the usual Our City Tonight music. We're going to end over the next couple episodes with the music of a couple of musicians we've had on this episode.
It's so cool to have some original music ending the show.
And in this case, it's Corey Weeds. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Visit OurCityTonightTV.com for all the latest episodes, segments, and our new podcast. And please be sure to like and subscribe.
The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.